What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about some mistakes that first-time football players need to avoid. So we're going to be talking about all the things that you need to know if it's your first year playing football, no matter what age you are, and some mistakes to avoid to maybe get on a coach's bad side, and that will also hinder your performance on the field. So I hope it's able to help you out. Let's get started. Now, mistake number one, you guys, is not looking your coaches in the eye. Now, this is something that I struggled with a lot as a player because, like, naturally, whenever I'm focusing on something, I'm not exactly looking at what the person is saying. I might be looking down. I'm honestly thinking about what they're saying, processing what they're saying, but a lot of coaches would treat that as disrespect. So I had to really kind of like fight through that and almost like find like a specific element of their face to look at, because like when I'm listening, when I'm focusing to something, I'm like almost looking like I'm zoned out. So if I feel like you're that way as well, you have to practice looking your coaches in the eye. You never want to come off as a disrespectful player, like you don't care about what they're saying or what they're talking about or what they are trying to teach you. Now, even as a coach now, I get a little bit upset, especially when I'm talking to younger guys, because I try to give my best effort when coaching athletes, like a lot of coaches out there. And if I see a kid who's maybe not listening, looking down, I immediately think he doesn't care what I have to say, so why am I putting in all this effort? And so you don't want to come off that way. But then I maybe check myself and say, like, okay, well, when I'm listening to something, I'm looking down, I'm processing what they're trying to say. So I give them the benefit of the doubt. But not all coaches have that type of patience, especially if you're playing for a high school team. Those coaches really never have that type of patience. So make sure you're looking your coaches always in the eye. Mistake number two that all first-time football players tend to make a little bit in the beginning, and I would say if you watch this, you should probably know to avoid it. Don't make the same mistake twice. So physical mistakes on the field are going to happen. I think as an athlete, you should always challenge yourself that mental mistakes should never happen. When it comes to knowing your playbook, when it comes to knowing your assignments, you need to hold yourself to that standard that mental mistakes will never happen. But physical mistakes will happen. Let's say you're a quarterback, you're going to throw an interception. That's a fact. It will always happen. Tipped pass, bad read, it happens. It happens to the absolute best quarterbacks in the NFL. Happens to everybody, guys, because defense is working against us at the same time. But don't make the same mistake twice. So let's say it's a passing concept called the smash, which is where we have a hitch route from the outside, corner from the slot. And let's say the corner baits you into throwing the corner route and he steps back and picks it off. Don't do that again. Learn from the mistake, because mistakes will happen. Coaches coach you up. And the reason why I say this is because that's a very easy way to piss off your coach. Because if he's telling you the same thing over and over and over again, it makes it look like you could care less what he has to say, and you really don't care about getting better, improving, and helping the team win. So guys, focus on not making the same mistake twice, and trust me, you will get into your coach's good graces. Now, fellas, before we get into the rest of these mistakes in this video, if you're a quarterback or wide receiver watching this and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches, we are going to be traveling out to 6 more cities across the entire U.S. for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. So next up on our camp tour, guys, we are going to be coming out to Birmingham, Alabama. Then after that, we'll be heading out to Houston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and finishing off our camp tour in Los Angeles, California. So guys, we only have available spots in Boston, Boise, and Los Angeles. So those are the only 3 where we are accepting people right now. So guys, if you're local to one of those cities and would like to train with myself and my staff, go to that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out there. The reason why our camps fill up, the reason why we sell out, is because we limit spots. We limit spots so each athlete can get one-on-one coaching and one-on-one attention, because we believe that is how athletes actually develop. So guys, if you want to sign up, very first link in that description below. We'd love to have you there. Let's get back to this video. Now, mistake number 3 that I feel a lot of first-time football players make is not being prepared for conditioning. If this is your first, like, let's say you're going into your first year of football, first time doing hell week, if you will, doing summer workouts, it's tough, man, especially if this is your first year of tackle, wearing the gear, wearing the helmet, having to condition with all that stuff on. It sucks. That's just the bottom line. It's not fun. Nothing about it is fun, but you have to be prepared. A lot of dudes will sit on their butt for 3-4 months and not do anything, and then maybe the last week before August 1st, they try to cram in a couple workouts and they feel like that's enough. Please do not be that guy. Focus on your conditioning, focus on being in good shape. Because if you're not in good shape, guys, everything is 10 times harder. I promise you that. I remember me as a player, you know, I wasn't the biggest guy. I was kind of on the faster side of things. I was probably always like top 5 fastest on any team that I played on, but at the same time, I knew nobody was going to be in better shape than me, because that is purely effort. So I remember 2 to 3 times a week, generally 3 times a week, I'd be doing some type of conditioning. And it wouldn't be long workouts. It didn't take a bulk of the time. I remember it would be like, honestly, like 3 40-minute workouts. If you don't have 40 minutes a day, you don't have a life, in my opinion. But I would go run bleachers twice a week. So I would go to a local high school and just run the stairs at the stadium. I would do probably 20 sprints, maybe 20 to 30 sprints up the stairs, right? And then on Sunday nights, what I would I would do that Tuesday, Thursday. Sunday nights, I would go to a field just like this, turf field, a park, wherever it was, and I'd run sprints. I'd do 40s, I'd do 100s, I'd do 60s. You could mix up the workouts, but I was always working on my conditioning because I wanted to make sure that when that summer season came and maybe I was in a position battle with a guy, he was not going to be better than me cardio-wise. He was not going to be better than me conditioning-wise. And if you could focus on that, trust me, it's a much easier transition, especially if you're switching to tackle football for the first time. Now, the next mistake has to do with conditioning as well, you guys. I feel a lot of athletes don't give 100% during conditioning because, guys, honestly, coaches evaluate everything that you do. You will learn this at the collegiate level, and especially if you're like a big-time high school program, coaches are always watching. Coaches are always looking at things that you do. So if you're that dude that's kind of like half-assing conditioning and you're just trying to get through it and you're not competing, I feel like you're not going to stand out to your coaches that well because every time you're on the field, it's an opportunity to stand out and impress a coach, whether that's a college coach or whether that's your high school coach and you're trying to compete and vie for play time. So I remember me, quarterbacks when I was in high school, we would always end up going with like the skill position guys, so receivers, DBs, and dude, I wanted to be first in everything. Even though I wasn't the fastest on the field, I felt like I had the best conditioning. So when we were doing 100-yard sprints, I was trying to be first. When we were doing 40s, I was trying to be first. When we were doing 20s, I was trying to be first. And again, a lot of guys will give you crap for that on your team, like, oh, you're being a try-hard or whatever. Like, as long as you're not rubbing it in their face and saying like, oh, I beat you or whatever, and you're just getting after it, ain't nobody gonna care, dude. And coaches can tell, even if you're not winning the races, if you will, coaches can tell that you're pushing yourself, and when you're pushing yourself, that shows them that you want to get better and you care about your job, you care about the team, and that's always how you want to come off, especially if you're new to the team. Now, next thing that you should completely avoid if it's your first time playing football, especially if you're going into high school, is skipping reps in the weight room. I think a lot of dudes, guys, like, hey, first week of lifting, very, very easy to do all the workouts because you're not sore, you're not tired, you know, you're not in school yet. But now you're in school, you're sitting at a desk for 6 hours. Then you have lift after that, then you have practice after that, and you maybe just want to do the field work, but you don't want to do the work in the gym, so you start skipping reps. Again, coaches notice that type of stuff. I remember when I was a high school coach, you guys, we had a dude who was a senior wide receiver who was always talking about like he wants to play, what can I do, what can I do, what can I do, and he's extremely undersized, and he was competing with some guys who were all D1 guys. He was a good receiver, he knew the playbook, he, you know, would work hard, he ran good routes, he looked real good in 7-on-7, but again, extremely undersized. But he was outperforming a lot of the dudes in practice. We're like, hey, maybe we give him a shot. But what we paid attention to, because he was undersized, was he doing the work in the gym? And we watched him during a whole workout. And how we would do our workouts is it would be 3 stations. So you would have a squat rack station, a platform, which is like for like Olympic lifts, and then a bench station. He did literally 3 sets of like 8 push-ups throughout the whole workout, and we maybe had 9 to 12 different exercises and sets that we had to do. He did literally one thing and did 3 sets, and that was it. We watched him the whole time. And after we did that, we yelled at him, screamed at him, at least the head coach did and the assistants did, and kid never saw the field. But because that was the type of effort that he was giving. It was like, it shows that you don't care. It shows that you feel that you're above the team and can get away with that type of stuff. So guys, do not skip reps. Do your work in the gym. Make sure you're putting 100% effort in because that's the best way to stand out to a coach. Now, mistake number 6 that first-time players make, guys, is not knowing your playbook. I get it, guys. Maybe you're new to football. You're not, you know, necessarily familiar with the different plays, the different concepts, the different ideas, whatever. You need to study just like how you would study for an actual subject in school. So I recommend making note cards. I tell every single athlete that asks me this question to make note cards and get a dedicated notebook to review and test yourself on that information. This is exactly how I did it. I did it with a whiteboard, but you could do it with a notebook. I realize not everybody has a whiteboard, but I would have note cards. On the one side of the note card, I would have the name of the play. Other side of the note card, I would draw out the full play with everybody's responsibility. If you're a receiver, I recommend drawing out every receiver's job, because if you know every receiver's job on the field, if there becomes an opening that you could maybe play, whether, let's say you're an outside receiver, but there's an opening at slot, you go play slot. Same thing with linebacker, same thing with D-line, any position that has more than one spot, right? And then what I would do is I would get the name of it and I would test myself on the whiteboard. So I draw it out on the whiteboard, okay, flip it. And that repetition of drawing it out and reviewing it is how I got better at memorizing it. So you guys have to put in the time, study your playbook like how you would be studying for a class. Now, mistake number 7, guys, that I'll never understand this one, missing practice. You should never miss practice. That's just the way it is. Like, guys, that's just football. And I get it. I've posted this before, like in terms of like not missing practice. I've made like shorter videos about this. And people are always like, oh, well, what if we have this? Or what if we have this family vacation, yada, yada. Like, don't sign up to play football then, bro. Like, I'm just going to be real with you. Like, if you're committed to playing football and you want to play at like a top tier high school program, you want to play the top tier college program, try telling your college coach that you're going to miss off-season workouts because of a vacation. Let me know how that goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's ridiculous. And so, like, I get it. You know, like, family is important. Some people might view family time like on a higher pedestal than football. Cool, I get it. Football's probably not for you. I'm just trying to be honest with you guys, so I don't have to tell you that I told you so. And I'll probably enjoy telling you I told you so. But anyways, I'm just saying this. Make sure that you are at every single practice, unless it is like a deathly illness, a death in the family, or like a major family emergency. Now, that doesn't mean you use those as excuses for when you don't have those situations. But if you're missing practice because of appointments, if you're missing practice because of 7-on-7, if you're missing practice because you have a session with like a private trainer, all that is going to do is piss your coaches off and make them think that you could care less about the team. I'll have guys that'll tell me, be like, oh, well, I don't lift with my school. I lift with my trainer because it's better work. Good luck playing, bro. Like, that shows that you literally do not care. Even if the work isn't that good, even if the weight room stuff is not the most realistic football type lifts, football type movements, you still need to be there because it shows that you care about the team. It shows that you care about the teammates. You're a team first guy. Because what does all the training matter if you're not going to play? So you need to be at practice. Maybe I'm old school. Maybe I'm old fashioned. You should not miss practice. There are times set aside in the summer called like a dead period where you're not allowed to practice with your coaches. That's when you go on vacation. If you're going to play football and it's your first time playing football, you need to communicate this to your parents. If you're a parent watching this, you need to understand this. I was a high school coach, guys. I was literally a high school coach. I know the conversations that goes on behind those coaches' doors. Everybody thinks like coaches are just regular people. They're not regular people. I'm just going to be real with you guys. Like, they take that stuff personally. They don't forget that type of stuff. When we're in a conversation about who should play, who should start, we're thinking about, like, okay, how many practices did he miss? Oh yeah, he took off for vacation for 2 weeks. Like we use that stuff against you. Like, maybe we shouldn't, but we do. And so, like, and again, I don't coach for high schools anymore because I didn't really like that type of environment, but that's how those guys are. So make sure that you are at every practice that you can absolutely be at. There's no excuse to miss practice unless it's those 3 things that I mentioned earlier. Now, mistake number 8, and this is one that I feel even I deal with as a trainer, giving your coach reasons why you made a mistake. Now, again, if he asks for it, then yeah, by all means explain what you're doing, right? But let's say you screw up on like a route or something like that, and your coach is like, dude, what are you doing? You need to run this. And you know he's right. Don't go, well, coach, but I did that. That's just going to piss him off. He does not care. And again, I'm just trying to be real with you guys and shoot you straight. He does not care what the reason is that you messed up. You messed up. Take ownership of it. My bad, coach, I screwed up. I'll fix it next time. That's all you got to say. And then if you're generally confused on it, when you guys get off the field or there is downtime to talk to him, that is when you ask him the question, hey, coach, on that play, I just wanted to ask you, like, I thought I was doing this. Like, does that, like, ask him a question about it when you screw up. Do not get defensive and start giving excuses as to why you did certain things, because it's just going to piss him off, you guys. I know how coaches are. I know especially how high school coaches are. And those dudes can get very, very hot-headed when you give them a reason why. Like, I remember I would throw picks and my offensive coordinator would just scream at me, and then I'd be like, well, I thought this, and then it would only make it worse. So I eventually got used to it where, like, okay, if I screw up, I throw a bad pass, a pick, make a bad read, and he's screaming at me, yes sir, I'll fix it. And then when we got off the field, everybody calmed down a little bit. I would ask him in the film room, be like, hey coach, on this play, I just want to clarify, like, am I reading this guy? Am I doing this? That's the time to ask him those questions. Don't do it on the field. Don't do it right when he gets off the field. Maybe if there's time on the field, then yeah, do it. But please do not be an excuse guy. Please do not be giving your reason why when you make a mistake, because again, it's only going to piss him off and put you in his like bad graces, if you will.